I'm gonna pause that, so.
Okay, we're ready to start. Good. I'm going to call the meeting to order. This is the Historic Preservation Commission regular meeting, August 13th, 2025. Claire, would you call us to order here? Give us a roll call?
We can call to order the Historic Preservation Commission meeting for August 13th, 2025, and the roll call. Member Church. Here. Member McGuire.
Here.
Member Minor
Here.
is attending virtually. Member Nickel is absent. Member O'Connor.
Here.
Member Tanner
Here.
and Chair Bergman.
Here.
All right. A quorum of the HPC is physically present at the meeting. In regards to Member Minor, a notice was received by a member of the HPC in accordance with village policy. And Member Minor will be deemed authorized to attend the meeting electronically unless a motion objecting to the member's electronic attendance is made, seconded, and approved by 2/3 of the members of the HPC physically present at the meeting. And if no such motion is made, then Member Minor's request to attend the meeting electronically shall be deemed approved.
We have any objections? No, sir. I think she's in.
All right.
Okay. So it's this first item on our agenda is approval of the regular minutes. I hope everybody's had a chance to take a look at them. Does anybody have any suggested changes, alterations? No. Hearing none, can I get a motion to accept the minutes? So move. And a second?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
We have
Aye.
minutes. Good. Then we get to item 3 on non-agenda items and visitors. We have set aside 15 minutes for anybody who would like to speak about items that are not on our agenda this evening. So if anybody has anything that they would like to offer up that's not on our agenda, do we have anybody attending electronically?
Double check. We do have one attendee. If you'd like to speak online, please raise your hand. And it does not look like we have anyone looking to
Okay.
speak.
Well, good. Well, it seems that we don't have any non-agenda items here. So moving on to agenda item 4, we'd like to welcome our new HPC member, Ben O'Connor. Ben, thank you for joining us. Been through some interviews to get here and been approved by the village. I think it's great that we're going to have a new member. I think a couple of you have already met him. Ben is an attorney in town. Lives on Prospect.
Yes, sir. Not far from our first house.
Not far from the first house. So that's kind of fun. So we welcome him and normally I give a gift of a architecture book, which I foolishly left sitting at home. So I will have to give you that next
I will
time.
wait with bated breath. No, that sounds good.
So
Thank you, everyone.
I have to apologize for that, but welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Item 5, an advisory review for 401 East Prospect Avenue. We have a review of a house for a change in paint colors. And this is the Elmer Fleet house from way back when. And we have a submission for changing the paint color. And we have a submission of the color itself. Has everybody had a chance to review the materials for this?
Yes.
Okay. One of the things I would like to do with this is just, I'm trying to go through my notes here, is review the process that we have for doing an advisory review. This is a fairly simple matter of changing the paint color of the house. But if we had an advisory review of something more significant, we would want to be looking at some of the matters, some of the materials in the statute regarding the size of the development, the changes to the house, the size and the proportion and the style and whatnot. We don't have any of those issues in front of us. It's just simply the paint color. I was wondering, would the commissioner, would the applicants like to say anything Okay, so,
Just so that we can get it in the recording.
Well, hello, everyone. Caitlin and Andrew Wade.
thank you for coming.
Yes, thanks for having us. We are new to Lake Bluff. We just moved into Elmer Fleet's house, as you mentioned. We feel very lucky and honored to be living in this special historic house. We actually worked with the homeowners, the Rannies and the Burkerts, in purchasing the home. We wrote them a letter and told them that this is the house we want to live in forever. And we said, whenever you want to sell it, please let us know. So this has been a long time coming for us personally. And while we love the color they chose for the home, it's not personally our first choice for a color. So we'd like to make that our own. And seeing as it wasn't Elmer's Fleet's color of his home, we think that it would only be right that we choose the color for this next chapter for us. So
Lovely.
that was why we brought this to you today.
Okay. Well, great. That's lovely. Any comments from our members here, board members?
I have a couple of comments. First of all, I was not aware, correct me if I'm wrong, that changing the color was part of our
It's not-
purview.
It generally falls into the purview, but not with any great importance.
This is the first time, and I've been on this commission for a number of years,
You know,
that I've
we
ever
want-
had
We
someone
did come into the village. We
Yeah.
wanted to follow all the rules, very much so. So we did come and ask, and they very much wanted us to present it to you. So we are here to do so. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for thinking of us. My feel, well, just a couple of little anecdotes. First of all,
Yeah.
when my husband saw that this was on the docket, he said, "Oh, that little red house, I like that little red house. I hope nobody's going to do anything to that little red house." So he'll be
Yes.
happy when I tell him it's just paint.
Only paint.
That's all we're doing.
That's why I
Uh,
put it out on the front too. I'm like painting the front so people are like, we're not doing anything but paint, I promise. Yeah.
And secondly, when I really enjoyed the history
Yeah.
I would assume you put this together, Kathy. Oh, you didn't? Did you do all of this?
No,
No.
no.
I shared the historical
Oh, you
photos.
did?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness,
Makes
my
it so
goodness.
much Fun, yeah.
It's just one of my kids went to school with Charlie Mullen.
Oh,
And and I knew Charlie for a long time and I knew where he lived, but it was years until I figured out that he was Elmer's great grandson. I did not.
For
Charlie Mullen.
For some of us, it's Mr. Fleet's house.
Mr. Fleet,
We
I'm
we never called him Elmer.
sorry.
We would never
That's
do
a good lesson.
that.
Forgive my impertinence.
It's always Mr. and Mrs. Fleet.
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
It was really nicely done. I enjoyed reading that.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
And I'm at 510 East Prospect, so I'm a block over from you guys.
Oh,
So I'm looking forward to meeting you guys and,
Yes.
good luck with moving in.
Thank
No, no,
you.
thank you.
Yeah, you've probably seen all of our kids outside.
No, ours too. Don't worry. It's a great street.
It
do
is.
you still have the playhouse in back?
Yes.
Okay.
And that is, well, you'll see us, well, you probably won't. We're going to keep it the same. So
Yeah.
there won't be any reason for a meeting, but it has fallen pretty badly
Yeah.
Oh, my
in
goodness.
distress. So we are going to take care of that. And that is going to be, we're going to call it like the kids clubhouse, and it's going to be a fun little space for them to go and plant, it'll have
Yeah.
plants in there and crafts, and it'll be a
Great.
fun little nature spot for them. So, but yeah, that'll be a big project probably next year.
Oh, very.
It's still
fun.
there though. And it's,
Okay.
yeah. And it's landmarked, so it'll always be there.
Well, the clubhouse, the little playhouse is landmarked as well as the house
Yes,
being landmarked.
yes.
So
Yeah,
Um,
it'll always be there.
we're
Yeah.
quite interested in that. So, all right, so we seem to have any other comments, any objections to paint colors here?
No.
So we have our usual, rather than go through all the 17 standards of whether this is going to affect the nature of the neighborhood and it's going to affect the neighborhood's general aspect and scale and scope and whatnot, I think we can go to our green, yellow, and red markings that we have on the second page here. We have the option to terminate the review, Option to continue the review seeking more information. Can you explain to us more about the colors? Or continue the review because we consider the work to be inconsistent. So what say all of you? What do we think we would like to do with this?
I move that we terminate the review.
Okay?
I second.
Okay. Do we need a voice vote or can we do a roll call vote?
That is a good question. Let's do a roll call vote
Okay,
on that one. Yeah. Member Church,
Aye.
Member McGuire,
Aye.
Member Minor,
Aye.
Member O'Connor,
Aye.
Member Tanner,
Aye.
and Chair Bergman.
aye,
All right, motion
Great.
passes.
wonderful.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you guys
Thank,
staying around.
thank you so much for being part of all of this. We
Yeah.
really appreciate it.
Like love.
Yeah, welcome.
Okay, okay. And we want to come by and see the Playhouse also. Okay. Moving on to our next item, we have a landmark nomination for 112 East North Avenue.
It's amazing.
And so this is a nomination that some of us have been hoping for and anticipating for quite some time. So we're quite pleased. So are the homeowners here? You are? Okay, good. Would you like to come up and tell us about the house? We'd like to hear a little bit.
Yeah, right.
I'm Katie Govin
Okay.
and my husband Ron. And we moved to Lake Bluff in 2021 from Libertyville as we were downsizing after our last child went off to college. And we always loved Lake Bluff and loved the character of this community. And we had been looking and looking and we, I think as fate had it, we put bids on, as you know, in homes that don't last on the market very long and we lost out to others. But I guess as luck would have it that when 112 went on the market and we looked at it, both of us come from the Northeast New England. So we're used to older style homes. And I think the moment we walked in the house, we felt like it was meant to be. And fortunately, our offer was accepted and we moved into the house. And when we did, we had a vision for some work that we needed to do. The kitchen had to be redone. It hadn't been updated since maybe the, I don't know, 50s or 60s. And the owners, the former owners acknowledged that. And there was some other things we needed to do to bring it up to code. And the other major challenge and opportunity I think that we had was the carriage house that sat on the property. And in moving in, the owners had left us with books and letters that had been written about the history of the house since the first owners had it, the Cole family, back in the early, I guess, late 1800s, early 1900s. And the history was captured in the form of letters that had been handed down. And we, you know, at the time when we moved in, we had they handed it to us and we didn't have time. And one night we were after we were kind of settled and moved in, we sat and started to read this and really understood the history of this and what we bought. And it felt that way to us. It really felt like it was something really special. And so as we were undertaking the changes we made to it, which were mostly just cosmetic inside, and then as we undertook and we came before you for the carriage house, we wanted to capture the essence of the history of the home. We went to the museum and we spoke to Kathy O'Hara in the early days and understood the Cole family and the Kelly Club. As we started to see the drawings that you had depicted on the library, I think during a historic year celebration, and we realized the significance of the Kelly Club had. So as we were undertaking aspects of the major renovation with the carriage house, we wanted to ensure that we were able to capture all the history, because there was a ton of history in that carriage house. It was in disrepair and structurally it wasn't sound. So we had to put, with their etchings on the wall and we had to, reinforce it with steel beams. We had to cover up the etchings, but we hired a local photographer who captured all of the etchings. And our vision was, let's give this to the museum because this is a history and we don't want this to go unnoticed. So we donated that to the museum, and then upon completion of it, we really wanted to utilize, as you know, it was a renovation, so we were only restricted to like 25% of the structure to change. And any wood that that they had to remove. My husband and I were dumpster diving one night, literally dumpster diving, and captured, reclaimed all the wood as much as we could to use for. One was we put an overhang in the back door to the house because it was just a door that, so we had an overhang, and we did that. So it has still the same old wood and that integrity of the character. We took the wood, and we have a carpenter friend. It's actually our painter who made, and he's a woodworker, made shelving that we then hung some of the photos that we captured from the barn in the carriage house on that second floor. And he made the shelves from the wood, as well as a ladder that we have a loft for storage on that second floor. And he made a ladder to access that from the wood. And so we tried to utilize as much as we could. We found brick when we had to lift that barn, that carriage house up and move it to keep in compliance with the fire code, as well as the 25% restriction. We had to move it about a foot or so to the west, and in doing so, we discovered some really old bricks that we reclaimed and used in the entryway to the man doors and the carriage house. So it has a lot of history. It has the Kelly Club etchings. It has the families that, were after the Cole family. John Cole's initials are also etched in there. And the Flood family and a lot of others. So it has a lot of history that now, although you can't see it behind the drywall, we've hung, probably 30 photos throughout the second floor to keep in the memory alive of what it used to look like. So, it's our house. We were asked to participate last winter in the holiday home tour, and because of the historic, they were having historic homes, and initially that was it wasn't an easy decision, but when they said it was the historical homes, we said, we have to do this as a nod to the house and the character. And so we did. And strangely enough, we were at a wine tasting earlier this late winter, early spring. And a person sitting next to us had gone through our house and knew of the Landmark Commission and told us and encouraged us to submit this home. And I think we didn't know anything about that. So he put me in touch with Susan Benjamin, who's been awesome to deal with as a partner in helping submit this and help me navigate through it, because we knew nothing about it. And she's also convinced me this is something that you need to do. And so that's why we're here. It's really for the home and for the village to have something enduring that we believe has a ton of character and history that we wanted to see preserved.
Lovely, lovely. That's great. Did you say that you had to move the barn?
Yeah.
Yeah, the carriage house, we would have had to change the exterior of it, to leave it where it was because of the setback requirements from a fire code perspective. And the one thing we've been trying to do is not change it. So we said, what alternative? And they said, oh, I'm just gonna pick it up and move it. We picked it up in the air because the whole bottom 1.5 feet was completely rotted.
Sure.
So we had to do it anyway. And the people that did it, can't think of Bill's last name right now, but you've never seen anything look so easy. They dug out the foundation, over a little bit and then bringing it down on what we call Jenga blocks. And we just laid it perfectly right in the right spot.
Set it down.
And, it came down on a steel beam structure, so there's a hidden steel beam structure to it,
Okay.
so it will be around for at least another.
Be there for
100 years.
another 100 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was 1890, was it built?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we also came across some artifacts, like there's a box that they use as a shelf that is, held paint cans. And we looked into the history of that company, and we think that these might literally be the first paint. The box that held the first paint can, so of course, salvage that as well, and
Sure. Okay.
it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Sounds like
Don't
quite a,
mind living amongst construction.
well, that's always the joy of living in Lake Bluff, is that you have to have a little drywall dust in the bed. So
Yeah.
that's sort of part of being here.
It was a little much in the first year or so.
Okay. Well, fun. So you remodeled the house and you remodeled the barn, both at the same time. Okay.
Well, yes, so we started with the house. The kitchen was the bigger project and some other just cosmetic things throughout the house. And then we undertook the barn in 2022. That started, I think, in late 20, we had to go through approvals. And so I think it was late 2022 by the time that was done. And we finished it in the early part of 24.
All right. Are you considering looking at the state tax freeze program?
So that was something that I didn't know anything about it. Susan educated me a bit on that too. So yes, we are. But that actually wasn't why we were here,
Wasn't the
you know,
driving
initially.
force, Yeah.
That's what we were
Okay.
just talking about, that we would be here regardless of that aspect. And it was Susan who had shared that, like, we didn't understand anything about it. So
Okay. Well, we
Yeah.
need to see if we can get you signed up for that.
just
It's a
think,
little difficult doing it after the fact, but whatever we can do to help you with
Thank
that,
you.
we would like to
thank you.
participate in that process.
Yeah, that it wasn't insignificant in what it would cost us to do this. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we probably,
Can you find?
if we weren't
Stan?
maintaining the history of it, probably reduce our renovation costs, probably at least 25%.
Really?
That's what we wanted to do.
Thank you.
Okay.
did you have anything else to add?
All right.
Susan, I think
So-
Susan.
so
Susan
Susan-
got the joy-
Susan, might you have some comments?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
have to you, then how wonderful this has been for me. I've learned so much. And it's so interesting to delve into that early history. And Catherine said a few words too, because she's my great source of all information. And the club, amazing. I'm gonna read a couple of poems, but I'm not gonna read all 37 stanzas, so it's okay. So I'll just say a few words. Mostly, you know, it's all in the report that we did, but the Helming Cole house, because we want to give his wife some credit too, because she comes from a distinguished family, John James and Mary Louise Helming Cole. It's very, I should preface this by saying it's very confusing doing the history of, I started with Halsey, an early history of Lake County, and Kathy put it in perspective for me, but they all had the same names. So there's John James and John and Stephen, and it just turned out that way. But it's such an interesting place. And Kathy pointed out to me that it's one of the first year-round houses in the village. And the research that I was able to do took me back to 1837, which was when James and Nancy Cole came from County Cork, arriving in Quebec and going to Rochester and Detroit, and ultimately landing here, where they purchased 360 acres of land. And, and that was kind of the beginning. So he married Mary Louise Rosenthal, and I thought, well, that's interesting that she had her, she was born Helming to Minnie and Conrad Helming, but when Conrad died, she married Adolf Rosenthal, and it was Rosenthal who built the grocery store that was a frame building, and then her brother ultimately became owner manager of the building and then built the brick building. And so we think that the house was probably built around the time they got married, which makes sense. So it would have been in 1896. And I have a picture of the couple in the report that you saw that shows them at their daughter's wedding. So I told you a little bit about the Helmings because, you know, they made their mark on the village as well. And, you know, Kathy will put this in a little bigger context for me. John James was a carpenter by trade, which is why all this wonderful material that you found is there. And before, some other pieces were found in the coach house earlier. And you saw pictures of him, we have pictures of him, which is great, in front of the fire truck. And Charles was head of the volunteer fire brigade. I think one of the most interesting things that Kathy told me was that he was cutting trees for firewood on the Mines family, am I pronouncing that right? I'm not sure, property by Green Bay Road, and saw like the outline of a cross. And when he looked more closely and dug around, I guess, chipped away, he found that it was indeed a cross. And Kathy told me that, you know, that was very common for if somebody died nearby, they would put a cross in the tree. Or if they held a mass there, they would put a cross in the tree. And then at the museum is this wonderful image of.
It also, because it's down near Green Bay Road. Green Bay Road is about 400 years old. And in our area, it's pretty much original. All they've done is paved it over pretty much in like Forest Lake Bluff. But we think it also probably was a trailblazer done by the Jesuit missionaries who came through here late 1600s, early 1700s here. So it is probably the oldest artifact that we have in town. And John Cole realized the significance of this when in circa 1900, he chopped the tree, opened it up, and it is there. You can still see some of the original lights on the ship. So that he donated it, his children donated it to what at the time was the first fireproof building. They thought that was the junior high, but it was built for 55. And then later, it's come to the museum. But Cole realized what.
Yeah.
So that was, it's always fun when you find an artifact like you did. You know, you can relate in a very kind of up close and personal way to the story because you have evidence that is physical that you know, you can see and relate to. Also, you know, ancestry, it's so much fun to do this kind of research. It's unfortunate the 1890 census doesn't exist. That, I don't know if it was a fire or whatever, but it's unavailable. But other than that, you know, you can find marriage records and you can find newspapers.com as part of Ancestry. And there is, so we've, you know, I could find obituaries and that kind of thing. And marriage records, death records. It really, it's very much fun to do this kind of research. Here is, you know, I used in the report, this is the PowerPoint that I left. It was on the wrong flash drive that I brought. So, and if you want a reprise, you can call me and I'll come back. But, you know, they did such creative things to reuse materials, and that is really, really cool. So the Kelly Club, I thought that was pretty hysterical because, you know, you identify Lake Bluff with the Camp Meeting Association, with the temperance movement. And it didn't occur to me that there were a bunch of kids in a barn that really were having fun and writing about it. And I'll come to that in a second. But, you know, you saw some of the scratchings that they did. You know, Christian's turn to make dinner. I don't think that's what, okay, no, clean up Christian. I mean, just stuff like that was hilarious. And the girls, so there was and I hope I'm kind of piecing this together in the right way, but the girls played tennis and there were pictures that in the books that you first shared with me, and then, I saw more pictures, more images. Claire Close, we got Grace, excuse me, Grace Close, wrote this 37 stanza poem that I promise I'm not gonna read all to you. But she wrote about it, and the people that came together and played there, they were summer residents, they were people that were not, were living here year round. And, when you look at these pictures, I mean, if you have it in the report, so I don't feel as guilty as I would if you didn't have that, but it is, it is marvelous to see, the swimming suits and there's a picture of Grace, who's the woman tennis player. She's the lady on the right. And, here's a liquor bottle that they're holding. I mean, so they were cavorting about, and this was just post, what was, the temperance movement and so it was, things were changing. 1895, the village was incorporated, and that was around the time that the club was really active. So here comes the best part. This is adventures at people's homes and on the beach. The Kelly Club is a jolly club composed of fresh young boys who happiest are when with brass drum they're making lots of noise. At last this fun was ended, as all fun is too soon, by Widener's and other family swell house party, and oh, how they did spoon. So that was mercifully even before my time. I'm talking about, I mean, not the activity, but the description of it. So if I had the PowerPoint, I was going to end with this because it is really appropriate that, they went to extraordinary means to preserve the barn. It really is amazing and wonderful, incorporating like the doorknob and items that they found. And, I can't think of better stewards for this really wonderful property. And the part that was, challenging to me, because it was too long ago, you can't go talk to somebody. So I had Kathy and tell them about, that I can't do about the context of the settlers and how, important they are.
I'm stepping, if you don't mind.
Would you please speak into the microphone, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
And would you please identify yourself? Do you live in the village?
I'm a renter. You know those people. Shouldn't get elected to anything.
Here today, gone tomorrow.
That's right. We have no ties to the community. Remember that. Very, very quickly, the Coles, and first of all, as a local historian, you are the dream couple. Because you have preserved the house in ways that we didn't even fathom, way above and beyond. And thank you so much. Because the Coles were interesting. They intermarried with other families here, particularly the Atteridges and the Swantons, which are old Lake Forest families. And they did this. Everyone had a lot of children in those days because they didn't expect a lot of their children to live past 12. And they intermarried with the other couples and things. So the Coles, the Atteridges, the Swantons are the very, very earliest settlers of this community. So that in itself makes it very significant. The fact that the house was built 1895, 1896, when Cole came here in 1895, it was when Lake Bluff is incorporated, the camp meeting is dying down. The fact is that they needed a government to be able to do the streets and all of the things that the camp meeting had done. And one of the things that about Cole's house, it is probably maybe not the first, but awfully close if it isn't, year-round home. Because you have to understand Lake Bluff primarily were cottages, summer cottages and things. But this was a substantial 2-story year-round home that was being built, which is significant, showing the changes to our community and the transition from summer camp meeting to year-round community. And I think that in itself is very, very significant for your house. So It is truly a gem, and thank you very much.
Hmm. Thank you, Kathy. Okay, so if you guys would like to sit down, you don't have to stand up through this whole program. Please come and be comfortable. Comments? Questions? So we'll
Well,
look like we have.
actually, I do have one comment. I'm sorry. That I am just delighted to see two couples relatively new to Lake Bluff coming in and respecting what we're trying to do here
Yeah.
and being all in on our mission, because so many people do not. We've lost so many great structures that this is a very happy night. So thank you both.
So Paul, it's really nice to see a situation where we're looking at preserving something as opposed to tearing things down. It seems like ever since I've been on the board, which is not very long, it was just a matter of tear down this, tear down that type thing. So
We see far too many of those.
and so I think Lake Bluff is very fortunate to have people like yourselves who basically are looking at preserving everything. So thank you.
So we need to take a look at some criteria for designation and see what we think about this property in detail. So there's a sheet in your folder that's got the list of the criteria on it, and we're gonna go through this. No, I can just read this. So we have the criteria for designation. It's in 3 different groups: general consideration, architectural significance, and historic significance. And so since we like to be a rules-based group from time to time, when we have a presentation like this in front of us, I'd like to go through the general considerations and get your comments on all of this. So we get to general considerations, item number 1, the feature, which would be the entire property, the house and the barn. The feature has significant character, interest, or value as part of the historic, aesthetic, cultural, or architectural characteristics of the village, the state of Illinois, or the United States. Would we say yes, that it has significant character for the characteristics for the village of Lake Bluff?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay, so that's simple enough. The feature is closely identified with a person or persons who significantly contributed to the development of the village. Can we
Yes.
say that?
Mhm.
Okay. The feature involves a notable efforts or is the only known example of a work by a master builder, designer, or artist whose individual accomplishments have influenced the village. We say that? It's the first, as Kathy has said, it's the first substantial insulated house.
Yeah,
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we don't know who the architect was or anything like that, do we? Was it?
I suspect it was John.
Yeah.
It was, and he built it himself. And
I think we call this a vernacular style house, right? Item 4, the unique location or single physical characteristics of the feature make it an established or familiar visual feature in town. And so is this a familiar visual feature in town?
I think so, especially with the barn in the back.
Mhm.
That at the time this was built, that was a common thing for homes to have, and there probably aren't too many of
That's
those.
one of the last barns left in town. So, okay, the activities associated, I love this. The activities associated with a feature make it a current or former focal point of reference in the village. So are there activities associated with the feature that we like? Okay. The feature is a type or is associated with the use once commonly but now rare, or is a particularly fine or unique example of a utilitarian feature and possesses a high level of integrity or architectural significance. So is this the type of house that was once common or is now rare? Or it's a fine or unique example of what could be just a utilitarian feature, but it possesses a high level of integrity or architectural significance.
I think the high level of integrity is a slam dunk. There really has only been positive upkeep from what I can tell
Mhm.
on the home. It hasn't been altered in any real significant ways, maybe new windows put
Mhm.
in, so forth. Obviously, the barn has had some TLC much needed.
Yeah, okay. The feature has yielded or is likely to yield historically significant information or even prehistoric data.
Yes.
So the house is yielding data and information. So,
Yes.
yeah,
The
we
oldest
have,
artifact in town.
we have copied all of the images that were inside the barn. Now we get to the next item, the next group of here, there's 7 items, architectural significance. The feature represents certain distinguishing characteristics of architecture inherently valuable for the study of time period, type of property, method of construction, or use of indigenous materials. So the house has distinguishing characteristics and or has architecture inherently valuable for the study of the time period. It is a vernacular house from the 1890s. So the feature embodies elements of design, detail, material, or craftsmanship of exceptional quality. And so we've been talking about the type of wood, type of bricks that we found. I am wondering whether the bricks that you found are from the closed brickyard. And I'm wondering, do you recall if any of those bricks had an imprint on them? Did they have initials pushed into the clay or anything?
No, but they deteriorated some.
Okay.
I don't recall seeing.
Well, it-
They're very faded, but they're, more of a lighter.
the yellow?
Yellowish.
Yeah.
That's from the.
Yeah, that's,
Oh,
yeah, that,
what's that material?
So if they're degraded, the closed brickyard was not going to be a world-famous brickyard because the clay here doesn't have enough silica in it in order to fire into a really hard brick. So if you have a brick that's kind of crummy looking, that's a further, it's hard to say, but it's kind of further evidence of it being from a closed brickyard. So, all right. So, that's, the feature embodies elements of design, detail, material, or craftsmanship of exceptional quality. I don't know if the bricks would fall into that, but do we think some of the details of the house fall into that regard?
Yes, I mean, it was built in 1895 and it's still in great shape.
Me.
Yeah, what do you think? Yeah? Okay. The feature exemplifies a particular architectural style in terms of detail. Material workmanship was resulted in little or no alteration from its original construction. I think that's pretty simple. One of the things I really enjoy about this house is that it has not changed its original form. It still adopts its L-shaped shed form, which I think is very significant for the village's textural feel. The feature is one of the few remaining examples of a particular architectural style and has undergone little or no alteration since its original construction. This seems very redundant to some of the things we've said before, but essentially it's slightly different. But I think it falls in line that it has the architectural style that we are interested in. Item 5, the feature is or is part of a contiguous grouping that has a sense of cohesiveness expressed through a similarity of style characteristics, time period, type of property, method of construction, or use of materials that accents the architectural significance of the area. How does this house relate to the rest of the houses on North Avenue? So if we look at the houses on North Avenue, especially on the north side of the street, we have about 3 or 4 sister houses there, many of which are in the same time period. Kathy, is that?
Store to them on the west
On the
side.
west?
Victor Daniel's house.
And maybe another.
Yeah, that fits back,
Okay.
that's definitely it. Couple of them have been, one or two have been totally altered and changed, but certainly it used to be almost the entire block was. Now it's not, but definitely those 2 houses
Okay.
typify
As you-
definitely 1890s, 1900s.
So, as you get further west towards Moran's, you get into the same structures. Mhm.
Then, of course, 10 North Avenue, which is that little cottage,
Right?
is there too. So you have significant structures on that block that are still remaining, certainly circa 1899.
So we're all about the neighborhood, so I think we can score that. The detail material and workmanship of the feature can be valued in and of themselves as reflective or similar to those of the majority of other visual elements in the area. This is highly similar to the guideline I just mentioned. And by the way, these are standards that are created by the National Park Service. We didn't dream these up. This isn't something we've just pulled out of the air. This all sounds like it's very redundant, but it is part of the National Park Service review process. Now, the landscape is significant in its own right as a work of landscape architecture and not merely as a complementary setting for one of the buildings. Do we think it has a landscape feature to it? I'm not sure that I think of it, I'm not sure if I think of the house as having landscape features.
Guess is the landscaping of this house has probably changed over,
Yes.
over its lifetime several
Two.
times.
All right, I think we don't score, I think we can score that as a no. So then we get down to the next section of questions. This is historic significance. The feature is an exceptional example of a historic or vernacular style. It is one of the few such remaining of the kind in the village.
Yes.
That's a big yes.
Okay. The feature has a strong association, I love this, is a strong association with the life or activities of a person or persons who significantly contributed to or participated in the historic or cultural events of the village. Do we think this relates to the cultural events in the village?
Yes.
Okay.
Very much so.
The features associated with an organization or group, whether formal or informal, don't you love this? From which persons have significantly contributed to or participated in the historic or cultural events of the village.
Yes.
So that's pretty easy to score.
Yeah.
The features associated with a notable historic event. So the notable historic event would be the Kelly Club meetings on the second floor.
I guess.
I would
Sure.
consider that to be the case.
No.
There you
Well,
go.
Now that we know about it.
First thing, was it Big Rabbit Ball?
The Big Rabbit Ball actually was held by your house. Oh, sorry, wait, just a second. Your house on, yeah, who built it? John Howell. No, it's a Tomlinson. Oh, Webster Thompson was the architect. Yeah, so, but the Kelly Club was in humorous defiance of the Prohibition movement, which sort of had gripped the rest of the community.
Mhm. That's the town and gown.
You want to, there was no other houses there. Yeah.
Well.
Like, yeah, but that is, the first. That's where they kept, that's where they kept your house. Yeah.
The features associated with an antiquated use due to technological or social advances. Don't know if that. I don't think so. Okay. The feature is a monument to a cemetery or historic persons or persons. I don't think the house is a monument. So, okay. So that takes us through the whole scoring of 20 items. I have three negatives out of 20. So we have 17 yays. So we think that this property can be defined as a historic landmark.
Easy call. Yes, sir.
Okay. Can I get a nomination to vote this as a historic landmark?
I will so nominate, I'm sorry, what's the address again?
112?
112 East North Avenue as a, to be landmarked.
Anybody want to second that?
I second.
Okay, roll call vote?
Mhm. Member McGuire,
Aye.
Member Minor,
Aye.
Member O'Connor,
Aye.
Member Tanner,
Aye.
Member Church.
Aye.
And Chair Bergman.
Yes.
All right, motion passes.
Great, all right. We have
Thank
a
you.
new landmark.
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks for all your hard work.
Village
We will-
board.
We will go to the village and
That'd
ask
be-
them to fully landmark the house. So
We'll be in touch with the next steps
Yeah.
regarding that. Yeah.
go through the next process, okay? And please stay in touch with Susan. She will guide you through the tax freeze program too. Something you very much want to take a look at. So, okay. So good. So then that takes us to the next item on our agenda, which is the landmark nomination for 456 Sunrise Avenue. And so is Todd and Susan here? Todd's here? Good. Good. Can you come up and tell us something about your house? What do we not know about your house?
Huh. Well. So it started off, as, in 1889, built by two Methodist ministers, Honeywell and Evans, who came up from central Illinois for the camp meetings. And they were some of the leaders of the Camp Meeting Association. After it was built, Honeywell came up from Hoopston to see the house and discovered that Evans' house faced the lake, but his property actually faced south. And so at that time, it was on wooden blocks, and so he had it turned so that they both faced the lake.
I love this story.
And so Honeywell family grew over time, and I guess he bought out Evans, who then built another house right next to it, which is, I think, approximately where our garage is now. And then Honeywell's, I guess they say at a party at that house, Honeywell's daughter met the son of Thomas Beale, and sometime shortly later, they married, and they lived in the house, and that's how it became the Honeywell Beale House, as the Beals lived there at least until the 1970s or 80s, I believe. So the house's historic significance is its relation, I think, to the Camp Meeting Association, and that it was one of the first, I think, camp meeting houses built in 1889. That street, Park Place, and of course it was predated the village, and so the platting and is actually done by the Camp Meeting Association, and they intended Park Place to be a prominent boulevard, I think, from the Tabernacle down to the park, and that Park Place came right into the center of the park. And so in actuality, the village owns a tiny bit of our porch.
Really?
Because the street in reality is, I don't know, 40 feet wide, but it was platted to be 100 feet wide. And so it actually reaches to the very edge of our structure.
Oh, it's a stitch.
And so I guess the Beale sisters then were significant figures in Lake Bluff history, as they were notable in several ways. They were extensive world travelers, in the early 1900s, which was unique for women. And I guess Yolande Beale reported at one point that she had been to every country but 4 at that time. And so I know they also went to all the national parks, I guess they reported. So they were very adventurous women for their time. And maybe the most significant they did for Lake Bluff is that, I guess in the 70s, the water district wanted to put the water treatment plant on Sunrise Park, basically in front of that house. And those neighbors organized and fought that in court and forced them to put it down on the beach, which has its own problems. And I guess I suspect a significant factor in that was that Honeywell, who had owned the property, had deeded it, I think through the Camp Village Association, that it should remain a park forever. And that if there's any other use for it, then it would revert back to the heirs of Honeywell. And Yolanda Honeywell was an heir to Honeywell.
Standing there.
And so she may well have just told him, look, you put that plant there, it's mine.
Give it back.
Yeah. And so they got the plant moved down there. I guess the other significant historical relationship is Evans, who was one of the early and short-term owners of half of the property, went on to be a founder of the Prohibition movement, which I guess had a lot of roots in Lake Bluff, unfortunately.
Well, it depends if you are a member of the Kelly Club or if you're a staunch Methodist. You know, we have this wonderful town and gown dichotomy going on here in the middle of Lake Bluff. So,
Yeah.
well, that's kind of fun. Can you tell us what you've done in working on the house, remodeling the house, doing things to it?
So the house was, I guess, sold to the Von Huben family, and Yolande Honeywell reports that it was a big village event and people had tickets and they all wanted to go in the house. And then the Von Huben sold it to Tom Conwell, who is also a historic Black figure in Lake Bluff history. And he actually spent, I don't know, $500,000 on extensively remodeling the house, and possibly is the reason he had to defraud his clients and ended up in federal penitentiary.
Oopsie.
So he did extensive work on it. We have done nothing significant as far as remodeling. We have put a new roof on and we've painted it.
Okay.
The reality is that the front porch and the double-decker nature of the front porch is challenging from the weather point of view, because parts of those porches are uncovered and, you know, they get Lake Michigan weather for the last 130 years. So, and, you know, wood is not the most resilient material. So at some point, we'll probably have to do some work on those front porches and that facade. And, you know, at this point, we intend to, you know, make them consistent with their current look, but possibly, you know, changing to a synthetic material rather than wood, because wood is just a bad idea.
Yeah. Certainly something to consider. Okay. Well, good. Kathy, do you have any thoughts about the house? Any history? Yeah. Well,
And it's one that actually we have documentation of it through the various stages. One of the originally it was a simple, as Todd said, two-story structure, duplex. And Mr. Honeywell did not like the fact that his house did not face the lake. So he just decided, without asking Bishop Evans's permission, he just picked it up and moved it, which was kind of spiteful. And then Evans left, built the house next door, which burned down later on. But as his Honeywell's daughter, who married Thomas Beale, as they had daughters, you had Hannah and Cornelia.
Yeah.
The towers were not original to the house, but as each granddaughter was born, Mr. Honeywell built the tower for each granddaughter as a playroom. So the first one and then the second one. So we have actual pictures dating to when it is finally completed. I got about 4 different views to when it's finally completed in 1914. But it is obviously a camp meeting house of significant people who were a major part of the camp meeting. And you're right, Bishop Evans, I think, ran for governor.
And tried to run for president, I think.
He didn't get to. Yes, I think you have to understand the prohibition movement in this area, Lake Bluff, was tremendous.
Very
Because the whole
powerful.
idea for the 18th Amendment actually started here.
Hmm.
You know, so that
Okay.
wonderful experiment that lasted 13 years. But so it has a significance to the camp meeting, has a significance architecturally to the streetscape. It's so important. You know, you got to remember that Sunrise, all the houses face the lake. If you look at it, they are, you know, they're very, very nice homes. But they're not the big mansions that you're gonna find in Connecticut or Wilmette, you know, multi-millions of dollars. That they're doing down there. It's a normal street. And it's so significant to try to keep it as a normal street.
Mhm.
So the idea of preservation and honoring the history of these homes on there, I think is huge.
Good. All right. Thank you. Thank you for your comments. So, do we have any comments? Do we have any questions for, Mr. Porter?
No, I just want to say how much I love the house. Love coming down there all the time. I live down Prospect and it's probably my favorite house on Sunrise. We love walking by it and we love the concert you guys have there. It's a really wonderful place. Thanks for everything you do.
Kathy, do you know if the porches that are on the house now, date back to 1914? Okay, so that,
They look the same.
okay,
I'll say it's the same, look.
same, generally the same style.
Okay, you, on first blush, you're not gonna tell them. Okay, look.
That's what we're interested in. That's what we like. So any comments from anybody? So, no? Okay, so we're gonna go through our discipline again here. So we're gonna do a lot of yeses and nos here. You ready, guys? Okay. Item number 1, the feature has a significant character, interest, or value as part of the historic, aesthetic, cultural, or architectural characteristics of the village.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, the feature is closely identified with a person or persons who significantly contributed to the development of the village, the state of Illinois, or the United States.
Yes.
So did someone say Evans tried to run for president?
Yeah.
So that puts him in the column. The feature involves notable efforts or is the only known example of work of a master builder, designer, architect, firm, or artist whose accomplishments have influenced the development of the village. And I think if it's a camp meeting house, I think it's something that is part of the village's culture. The unique location or single physical characteristics of the feature make it an established or familiar visual feature.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I like the way it looks. The activities associated with the feature make it a current or former focal point of reference in the village.
Yes.
The feature is of a type or is associated with a use once common but now rare, or a particularly fine or unique example of utilitarian feature and possesses a high level of integrity or architectural significance. One of the things I really appreciate about this house is the 2-story porches that are on it. That is such a typical part of old-time Lake Bluff. So the feature is yielded or is likely to yield historically significant information or even prehistoric data.
Yes.
Okay, you like that? Getting to the next group of questions, architectural significance. The feature represents certain distinguishing characteristics of architecture inherently valuable in the study of a time period of property, method of construction, or use of indigenous materials. So it's characteristics of architecture inherently valuable for the period or study of the time period. I think we can agree with that. It's a camp meeting house. The feature embodies elements of design, detail, material, or craftsmanship of exceptional quality. I think we can fit into that, yes. The feature exemplifies a particular architectural style in terms of detail, material, and workmanship, which has resulted in little or no alteration through its original construction. So it looks like the house in 1914. The feature is one of the few remaining examples of a particular architectural style and has undergone little or no alteration since its original construction. I think we can score that. The feature is or is part of a contiguous grouping that has a sense of cohesiveness expressed through a similarity of style characteristics, time period, type of property, method of construction, and accents for the architectural significance of the area. Does it fit into the neighborhood? Is it part of the neighborhood?
Yeah.
Yes.
Huh? Okay, we don't have to, okay. The detail, material, and workmanship of a feature can be valued in and of themselves as reflective of or similar to those of the majority of other visual elements in the area. So the material and workmanship is reflective of or similar to the majority of other elements in the area. Fits in. Now we get to our landscape question. The landscape is significant in its own right as a work of landscape architecture and not merely complementary setting for one of the structure or the buildings. I don't know that the house has any particularly distinguished landscaping to it. I don't think it has. You do? I didn't know your house had a pond.
Yeah, behind.
Is it is it a dry pond or is it natural? Does it have a spring to it?
It's relative. Yeah.
Huh?
You just built that a couple years ago, right? Yeah. Was there a pond before? Oh, okay, yeah, it's really nice. Okay.
Hmm.
That's a yes then. Maybe.
Works for me. How many ponds are there in Lake?
How many ponds are there in Lake Bluff? There used to be, I think there were a lot more ponds in Lake Bluff, but how very interesting. I wasn't unaware of that. So, okay. So do we think that the landscape is a significant in its own right?
Yes.
Yeah, yes. John, what do you think?
I think that more the location of the house, looking out over the park and everything else is the most significant aspect of it. If, I don't think you call that landscaping, but you know, that's what I would think would be the most impressive aspect of it.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll score that a yes. Okay, simple. Last group, significant significance. The feature is an exceptional example of a historic or vernacular style and is one of the few such remaining of its kind in the village. Yeah, we keep running out of camp meeting houses.
Well, I think it's the only one that has two towers.
Yeah.
Two turrets. Yeah.
Well, I think the porches though are the most significant aspect of it too, you know, in terms of, you know, even going to the picture of 1910, you know, there are porches all the way around it, 2 levels, you know, and looking out over the lake and the wind coming in from the lake, you know, just doesn't get any better than that. So
That's why the Methodists came to Lake Bluff in
yeah, well,
1870.
long before the days of air conditioning.
Yeah,
of course.
a lot cooler. The feature has a strong association to the life or activities of a person or persons who significantly contributed to or participated in the historic or cultural events of Lake Bluff.
Absolutely.
So we have Evans, we have the Beals. Features associated with an organization or group, whether formal or informal, from which the persons have significantly contributed to or participated in historic or cultural events of the United States, state of Illinois, or village.
Camp meeting association.
That, prohibition, okay. The feature is associated with a notable historic event.
Probably several.
They only had the Pink Rabbit Ball in their front yard, didn't they?
Was that where it was?
That was 112.
The keys.
Okay.
That's something. Plus,
Yeah. So we think no notable historic event?
and you talk about the camp meeting, but it also was one of the very few Chautauquas, Midwest Chautauquas. The whole Chautauqua movement, which started out east, which was a whole social and cultural event, but still is actually in existence. It was huge here, and they were right in the midst of it. Yeah. You have to realize also right in front of the house, just down a little, was the very first gazebo. Like,
Oh, yeah.
that's where that was. So there are all sorts of social events that were going on in that park too. So it has, that house has witnessed 130 years of major cultural,
Okay,
social things.
so I guess we can score that as a yes. Okay. Kathy, we need to have you hear more often. The features associated with an antiquated use due to technology or social advances. So
Well, the
we,
double porches were.
so
early-
air
early
conditioning has wiped out that, yeah, okay. The feature is a monument to a cemetery. It's a monument to a historic person or persons. I don't know, do we consider it a monument?
Well, other than its name being named the Honeywell Beale House.
Hmm. Okay, so we'll score that probably a no. That puts us at out of 20, we have 19. Well, we're doing pretty well with this house also. And so do we think we can landmark this house this evening?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So can I have a motion?
I will move to landmark 456 Sunrise Avenue.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. And we need a roll call vote.
Yes.
Okay.
Member Minor,
Approve.
Member O'Connor,
Aye.
Member Tanner,
Yep.
Member Church,
Aye.
and Member McGuire,
Aye.
and Chair Bergman.
Aye.
All right.
Hey, we have our second landmark of this evening.
Okay.
I am so proud of everybody here. This is fabulous. So, Mr. Porter, thank you for coming. Thank you, everybody, for coming this evening. This has been.
And again, it will have to go to the village board and we'll be in touch with next steps. so.
Yeah, so process.
That is a good question. I
Believe there are
32 or
So
He said this was 37 total, right?
there's,
there were 37, or this would be the 37th, but the active, I believe would be the 30th or the 31st.
Yeah.
I had that down. Yeah, this would be the 30th.
And all the landmarks are homes.
No, there are also some non-residential as well.
so these are local landmarks. And downtown Lake Bluff is a National Historic Register district. And so the train station and some of the other buildings, the Village Hall, Bluffington's, those buildings all make up a National Historic Register district. What we're doing here is slightly different. This is municipal based, and these are for local landmarks. You can still obtain the same tax benefits as you can with the federal districting through this landmarking process. And you also get other benefits in that the village will give you a discount on the village's portion of your property taxes for a period of time, subject to some limits. But it's always nice to have the government give you some money back, so that's okay. And the other thing that you have is our commitment to help you go to the ZBA if you have zoning issues. And so if there's a need to talk to the ZBA and have preservation, explain to them why we think that the house is okay the way it is something that we are willing to do. And we do that in writing. So if anybody asks to move your barn again, you come and talk to us first. Yeah. So, so that sort of takes care of what we have. Thank you all for coming. So, From there, we go to our commissioner report. I don't have much to
Okay.
report.
They can.
Comments?
About the commissioner's report or other discussion items?
Other discussions?
Just, I wanted to talk about moving forward with Doyle's
Okay,
and
We can-
how we can do that. That was more just you and I, Paul, I guess.
we can get together and talk about that. Yeah, sure. Why don't you folks come and use the elevator? Use this stair here. It's might as well,
Yeah, don't go down that in this,
Can you-
that's a nasty
go
stair.
turn the lights on.
Turn the lights on in there. I don't know how they got turned off, but yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I think the only switch is at the very bottom.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, really?
That's a fire code violation. How does that
The
happen?
historic
Okay.
building.
All right. So I don't have much of a commissioner's report. I am putting on a.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming.
Bye.
I am putting on a Stanley Anderson program this Sunday, celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Stanley Anderson firm. And that's at Gorton at 2 o'clock on Sunday, followed by a wine stroll in Deer Path Hill Estates. So if you want to come and listen to me talk for about 45 minutes or an hour, you're then rewarded with a couple glasses of wine and the opportunity to walk around some nice looking houses. So that's all I have to offer up. Clara, what is on your list?
Not too much, just that we have been approached about, I believe, another landmark. I don't know if that you were
The doors.
talking about. Yeah, so we may have another meeting coming up for that one, but unfortunately it didn't meet our
Sign.
deadlines for notification, so.
Okay, so we're just working through the timeline mechanics of that. Okay. That's great. If I understand the house, it is another one of the camp meeting houses. And so it goes back to,
Where the Doyles are now?
right,
Yeah, across the street from me.
you know.
Yeah.
And so that would be lovely to get that house in as a landmark. So I'm very appreciative of that. So here we are. Any other comments? Any
I
other?
hope all the
questions?
meetings are like this.
This has been a
This
fabulous
is
meeting.
a special one.
That's- it's that way.
Right. This is
Exactly.
amazing.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've been here for a long time.
This is pretty awesome.
We've never had any.
No, I figured as much.
Yeah. Well, and I'm so pleased that we had the opportunity to go through an administrative review of architectural changes to a property. I think this is the first time we've ever reviewed paint colors. We're okay with paint colors. One of the things I tried to put together this afternoon, but wasn't able to get to print out of my printer, is in Nantucket. The entire island of Nantucket is a National Historic Register. It's a series of National Historic Register districts. They have a great deal of control over what goes on, where things go. And because of the economic forces there, they are facing some tremendous pressures. They have adopted a set of 12 paint colors for exterior trim. You are only permitted your choice of 12 colors to paint your front door and your front door trim, screen door and whatnot. So you go into the hardware store and there's a rack hanging there and it's got all of the paint colors and you could pick one of those and then you fill out the application and come in front of the Nantucket HPC and beg their permission. And as long as it's on the list, you get a pretty fast yes. And if you're trying something else, you're going to go through a long administrative process. So I thought I would amuse everybody with that story.
I know of a place in California that dates back to the 50s, so it's not quite as old as Nantucket, but they not only control the colors, but what kind of plantings you can have and what color gravel you can put in the driveway. And
I want to know more about
It's-
that.
pretty interesting. They want
Image.
everything to look seamless.
So, okay, well, I think that's it. And we're gonna close this meeting out. We're adjourned, and I think we are at the end of a very nice evening. So,
Yeah,
thank you.
absolutely.
Motion
Thank
to
you.
adjourn. Motion to-
Yeah.
Oh, so excuse me, I have to do a motion to
Kind of
adjourn.
Very unusual.
So moved.
So, move second, agree?
Us.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank
So
you,
we're
Margaret.
now, and Margaret, thank you for attending.
My
Next time-
pleasure. Have a good evening.
Next time you're back in good old Lake Bluff, call me up. Let's grab a cup of coffee.
I was there for 6 hours last week because of
Oh.
United, but it was overnight.
Oh, that's a fast trip.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have a good night.
All right.
You too.
Good night.
Yeah, this is probably one of the